Welcome to Module 3B, Paragraph Writing. In this section, we will cover the function of paragraphs in an essay or paper and the components that make up a paragraph. We will also briefly touch on different types of sentences that can be utilized to add style to any essay or paper in your writing. So the purpose of paragraphs. In short, the purpose of a paragraph is to organize information so that your reader can understand your logic clearly. Each paragraph should have a central point that is related and connected to the other points and claims throughout your paper, and ultimately lead up to your final conclusion. It is helpful if you were to write out an outline for your paper before you even start writing, because this gives you a roadmap for you to be able to follow. And when you write your paper with an outline, you can just plug in paragraphs that fit that outline for the major points, and it'll help you stay on topic and for your reader to understand your logic more clearly. So for example, if you have a larger paper, you might have a central claim and two or three paragraphs expounding upon that claim. And then you'd have another claim and 2 or 3 paragraphs. For shorter papers, your main claim might be 1 paragraph and you have 2 or 3 sentences for supporting information with your conclusion. And once again, a second paragraph with 2 or 3 supporting details to support that conclusion. So however big or small an outline will help you focus your thoughts in a way that your paragraph will then reflect your logic so your reader can understand what you're trying to say. So here are the components of what a paragraph should be made up of. Each paragraph should have a topic sentence. This is similar to a thesis statement in that it foreshadows the conclusion sentence at the end of the paragraph. Your topic sentence should indicate to the reader what this particular paragraph is all about. And after you've introduced your paragraph with a topic sentence, you need to, of course, give supporting details to support that claim. This is where you would use logic and reason to connect that information towards a conclusion. And then finally, you will conclude with a conclusion sentence that states the new piece of information that you have just proved. So let's look at a basic example of how these components play a part in an actual paragraph. Let's go ahead and look at this paragraph together and see what components we can drive out of it. Next, this introduces the paragraph. Obviously, this comes after previous paragraphs. Now we should get our topic sentence at the very beginning here. We have to understand why the sky is blue. There's our topic. We're going to talk about why the sky is blue and how we need to understand it for the conclusion of this paper. So after the topic sentence, we have our supporting details. We have 2 of them. 1, many think it is blue because it reflects the blue ocean, but this is not backed by science. So this first one is, we could say, debunking, or it's basically saying it is not blue because of the ocean, right? It is given a false reason and showing that that's not true. Now to prove this, we get to supporting detail number 2, which states that in reality, the Earth's atmosphere functions like a prism to separate white light into all of its colors. It just happens that blue is the most vibrant and so predominates the sky during the day. Then we have our source, spaceplace.nasa.gov. So in the second one, where he is expounding that it is blue because of our atmosphere and how it refracts and disperses light. Then finally, we get to our conclusion. Therefore, we know that even if the ocean were to dry up, the sky would still be blue. So the conclusion is the sky's blueness is not dependent upon the ocean's existence. Now, depending on how the paper is, its own thesis is, you might actually have a different conclusion sentence. You may have the same details, but maybe use them for a different conclusion. For example, if the paper was about the complexity of God's world, then you might have a conclusion, therefore we know not all things are as they appear, and that under greater scrutiny we begin to discover the beauty of creation as the Creator made it. Right? You can have different conclusions from the same supporting details. And so when you're writing a paragraph, you need to be sure you're introducing the topic, giving your supporting details, and making sure your conclusion fits within your paper and that you're actually focused towards one common goal throughout your entire paper. When writing paragraphs, it is important to use a diversity of sentence types so as to have a more relatable and understandable style. Let me give you some examples here. You could use simple sentences. Your paper would be okay. Your readers might not like it. Compound sentences can help you connect information, and they will also make you sound better. On the other hand, complex sentences will help you make your logic clear because they give more information. You can even have compound and complex sentences in order to be as clear as possible, but you should not use these too often because they can be difficult to make sense of sometimes. You can see in those examples the various level that they have and how they communicate. So simply put, a simple sentence is a standalone independent clause. There are no connections to any other independent or dependent clauses via a conjunction. A compound sentence is a sentence with two or more independent clauses that are joined together with a conjunction, while a complex sentence is a sentence with an independent clause and at least one or more dependent clauses attached to it. As you can imagine, a complex compound sentence is we have two independent clauses that are connected by a conjunction as well as one or more dependent clauses built in there as well. You can imagine, as you heard me speaking just a second ago, it can get very long and hard to follow the logic of. So be careful in how often you use some of these. What is important to take away is that you use a diversity of these types of sentences in your paragraph so that you can better be understood. If you rarely use complex sentences, it will make those types of sentences pop out to your reader and help you highlight important aspects in your paragraph. Likewise, a simple sentence can also stand out. Sudden shifts in style can help you make your main point more clear, and mastering these techniques will make you a masterful writer. If all you ever do is use complex compound sentences, which I tend to be guilty of, your logic will be clear, but it's not going to make any particular point stand out. However, if you merge these types of sentences together and then have a final conclusion that has a very compound, complex sentence, it'll wrap everything up together and that'll help your reader to focus their brain power on that last meaty chunk versus wearing them out early on in the paper. So depending on who you're writing to and your writing style, you want to begin to use these wisely. So to wrap things up, mastering how to write a basic paragraph will help you tremendously in writing your papers. If you can connect the logic in your paragraph towards a conclusion, you will have succeeded in writing a good paper. It will take practice and it will take a lot of brain power even before you start the actual writing, but in the end it is worth going through that work if your goal is to have a well-crafted paper. Ultimately, paragraphs are what makes up papers and sentences are what makes up paragraphs. So if you start with the building blocks and work your way up, you'll have a great paper at the end of it all. Thank you for watching this short video on paragraphs. I hope it was helpful in how you understand how these work, but also how to craft them out of the different sentence types. Of course, if you have questions, leave those below in the comments and we'll try to get back to you on that. And as always, take one step at a time and you'll be just fine.